5 weaknesses of men every woman should know. Male psychology. Welcome, ladies, to a captivating journey into the mysterious minds of men. In this video, we reveal 5 weaknesses of men every woman should know, where we help you decode the mysteries of the male mind. Understanding what a man seeks in a woman is like deciphering a complicated code. However, with the proper tools and insights, the task becomes far less difficult. In this video, we will go deep into the realm of male psychology, shedding light on what makes men tick, what motivates them, and what they find appealing in women. Prepare yourself for a great blend of humor, wit, and wisdom as we explore the complex dynamics between men and women. So, grab a cup of coffee and let's unravel the mysteries together. Number 1. Men have a happy place. Men are frequently accused of not being in touch with their feelings, which may be accurate to a certain extent. However, I would argue that it is not as easy to define as that. Men are profoundly emotional, but express it differently than women. When circumstances get harder to bear, men tend to go toward what I call the happy place rather than outwardly emoting. This is often a place in nostalgia, where sunlight and pleasure rule the day. For some, this place may be watching a football match for an hour or two. For others, listening to 80s music. And for others, it's simply playing a video game. The idea is that it is a coping strategy and should be recognized as such. Let him go to his happy place, but limit his time there. Men have a natural desire to go to the realm of la-la, but be cautious, especially if they begin to spend too much time there. Men need to flee, and they may even need to be remote at times. But if that is what finally characterizes their personality, there is legitimate cause for concern. Number 2. Men need time to shift their minds when they return home. Most men want space and stillness to adjust and be completely present in a new environment. It can take at least 15 minutes to arrive and switch gears after leaving a high-stress or high-stimulus setting, such as the office. If you crowd him too quickly, he might give off chilly, distant energy. It's because he feels overwhelmed and intruded on. He wants to connect with you, but he simply needs some time. After a brief reset, he'll be able to hold space and listen, engage in discussion, and be more ready for physical connection. Some men will be able to walk in the door and strike up a conversation, but in general, he'll appreciate the opportunity to have some space up front. If you start experimenting with giving him this buffer as he walks in the door, you'll see him approaching you more often, throwing his arms around you, kissing you, and overall trying to connect with you. Number 3. Men are not great at multitasking. Men are genetically programmed to be providers, and they are not given the ability to focus on many things at once. This indicates they were not given the same multitasking abilities as women. This is not some kind of genetic defect. Ladies, stop trying to change men into women. This goes back to the origins of humanity, when men were hunters. Imagine the focus required to hunt and kill, not to mention the burden of feeding a family. If he's unable to make the kill, he returns home empty-handed and feels like a failure. So, men can only focus on one task at a time. If you want your spouse to help you with the dishes, listen to how awful your day was, and assist your child with his homework, chances are he will shut down and do none of it. Number 4. Men are afraid of commitment in relationships because they cherish freedom above everything else. Mastering relationships at last requires a great deal of inner work. This is particularly difficult for men who have a strong inner desire for freedom. Without firm boundaries and a high level of self-awareness, relationships will always feel like a risky trap, holding him back and making him feel constricted, and fearing that it would ultimately have a bad influence on his life. Women naturally desire greater connection and quality time than men do. It's simply the nature of the feminine. To get him to commit to you sincerely, first make sure he understands his life's purpose, and then be someone who supports him in making that goal a reality. Once he sees you as a true and evident ally for him stepping into his power, then he will be able to commit to you deeply. He won't ever want to leave you. Do not hurry things in the beginning. Women's internal clocks and timelines for increasing commitment typically differ from men's. Share your truth and feelings without putting pressure on him when possible. The best approach to get started is to show your interest, but ultimately, it's more suitable if he chooses you and makes it official. He will be able to do so if he is in touch with himself and his masculine side. But if he's obviously taking too long and not reciprocating mutual respect, affection, caring, or satisfying reasonable needs, he's not mature enough to pick a lady at this stage in his life, which says nothing about you and your lovability. Number 5. Men are afraid of women because of their immensity. Feminine energy may be overwhelming for a man who lacks a strong masculine core. Being in a relationship might sometimes seem like he's being swallowed whole. Men want to satisfy you, perhaps too much. We seek your warmth. We desire your love. You bring such beauty and lightness into our lives, and we need that connection. But that is why we may eventually fear relationship commitment. We have seen our own tendency to defer to you and lose ourselves in the connection. We may easily let our desire to please you override our own truth, needs, and wants. When we are pulled to a woman, we tend to lose our sense of center and direction. We may also lose our edge and refrain from being as totally self-expressed as we typically are. This is a common trait among the younger generations of men, since we've been taught that having edgier, more forceful personalities is not acceptable. And it is absolutely not good to bring such energy to women, even if that is what you really desire from us. Over time, these minor compromises and withholds will stack up and do one of two outcomes. It will either repel him away from the lady because he cannot take it, or it will lead him to energetically shrivel up and shut down and have him sitting on the sidelines in his life. In his perspective, it may appear that the woman is to blame for why he doesn't feel powerful and free. And certainly, if he is submitting himself to a woman who is legitimately a bit overbearing and manipulative, this may be a factor. But it's usually the man's own conduct and relationship patterns that are the cause. To be clear, I'm not providing you with a reason for ignoring him. I'm raising your awareness so that you may work together to help him. Recognize your immense presence in his life. If you don't account for it and simply run your relationship with default routines and habits, you'll wind up with a less powerful partner and overall connection than you could potentially have. Give him space. Encourage him to be expressive, honest, and powerful. Encourage him to connect with the other men in his life and support him in his purpose. Well, there you have it. 5 weaknesses of men every woman should know. Hope it helped, and thanks for watching.